seat for Demo 2.
Station Huntsville, Space to Ground 3 for Chris on the ISS experience. Station Huntsville, Space to Ground 3 for Chris on the ISS experience.
Right on 3. Right on 3.
Hey Chris, we're not seeing good connection between the SSC-25 and the camera. Hey Chris, we're not on a handover connection between the SSC-25 and the camera. SSC-25. We're coming up on a handover. We're looking for a reboot of SSC-25.
SpaceX Dragon on Dragon to ground for inventory. SpaceX Dragon on Dragon to ground for inventory.
Ready to copy. I am here and ready to copy.
Okay, Anna, we'll start with location 9. From bag 203. Location 9. Remove 3 from water bottles. 203. Remove 3 water bottles.
Copy. 3 bottles removed from bag 203. Copy. 3 bottles removed from bag 203.
Good readback from location 10. We removed good readback from each of we removed 07 from each, so 6 water bottles in total. 07, so 6 water bottles in total.
And Dragon SpaceX, you were pretty broken on that call, but I think I copied Dragon 3 bottles from each broken on that call, but I think I copied 3 bottles from each bag 207 and 208. Is that correct?
That is a good readback, Anna. That is a good readback, Anna.
I copy.
For location 11, for one dinner 11 from bag 317, one dinner, one from bag 315, one lunch from bag 316, and one lunch from bag 316.
I copy 1 dinner from 317, one breakfast, copy 1 dinner from 317, 1 lunch from 1 breakfast from 315, and 1 lunch from 316.
That was taken has been sent out. Everything that was taken has been sent out. That's a good readback. And location 12, that's a good readback. 1 dinner and location 321, 1 dinner, 1 from bag 319, 1 lunch from bag 319, and 1 lunch from bag 320.
I copy 1 dinner from 321, 1 breakfast copy 1 dinner 319, 321, 1 lunch, 1 breakfast from 319, and 1 lunch from conclude all of this includes your consumption from conclude all of this includes your consumption from the lunch that you just completed.
That's correct, Anna. We've finished eating, and the lunch we just completed is a good eating, and the lunch we just completed list is a good of what I've read down to you so far. The only thing we have remaining is the only thing we have remaining is the waste system here, and we'll do that with the water bottle and report system when we do that a little bit later. With the water bottle and report when we do that a little bit later.
Copy. That sounds like a perfect plan. Thank you so much.
Okay, with that, that's the extent of our inventory. All else is per the extent of our inventory. All else is per the packing plan.
Per the packing plan. Copy. All else from per the packing plan.
This is Mission Control Houston. You've seen Chris Cassidy, International Space Station Commander. Houston. You've seen Chris Cassidy, International Space Station Commander. Both Russian cosmonauts next to him right now is Ivan Wagner. Both Russian cosmonauts next to him right now is Ivan Wagner, rookie space flyer that was on the same Soyuz space flyer that was Chris Cassidy on the same Soyuz spacecraft from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. That Chris Cassidy just a little more than a month ago from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Just a little more than a month ago. Also on board is Russian cosmonaut Anatoly Ivanishin. Also on board is Russian cosmonaut Anatoly Ivanishin. Houston. We are coming up on almost 2 hours since we are coming up. The Crew Dragon made contact and was captured by the Dragon made contact. The International Space captured by forward at International Space Station adapter forward. That happened at 9:16 a.m. Central. That happened at 9:16 a.m. Central, 10:16 a.m. Eastern. Still working through some of those milestones, equalizing pressure between Dragon and International Space Station, verifying some of the communications. And of course you see Behnken and Doug Hurley inside, continuing to prepare the inside of their vessel before they make their way inside the orbiting complex. Verifying some of the communications. And of course you see Behnken and Doug Hurley inside, continuing to prepare the inside of their vessel before they make their way
SpaceX Dragon on Dragon to ground. Do you mind taking the cameras down for just a few minutes here?
We will put that in work and let you know when it's done.
This is Mission Control Houston. You heard the call from Bob Behnken, Joint Operations Mission Commander of the Demo 2 mission, taking down some of those video feeds. We're still waiting for some of those milestones to pass before actually opening the hatch. The Dragon crew continuing to get themselves ready before opening the hatch. Chris Cassidy on the other side, just preparing some of the camera views, making sure everything's set there, done even a little bit ahead of time. We do have confirmation that there is a good data connection path between Dragon and the International Space Station. Some of those checks underway next. Coming up on 2 hours since docking at 9:16 a.m. Central, 10:16 a.m. Eastern.
Space Station on 3. The SSC's been rebooted. Any success?
Hey, Chris, we see good connection between the SSC and the camera, and we're just performing the calibration now. We'll start recording shortly. Thanks for your help.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to help.
Dragon SpaceX, we have gone exterior with the cameras.
Dragon, copy. Thanks.
This is Mission Control Houston. Again, you're getting a look at the inside of the International Space Station. That's NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, commander of Expedition 63. Continuing to get some of those cameras configured for hatch opening. Many milestones already passed after docking at 9:16 a.m. Central, almost 2 hours ago at this point. At the time of docking, the International Space Station was on Russian thrusters. After contact and capture, was moved over to control moment gyro, stabilization and attitude control, now back to its standard configuration of thrusters and control moment gyros. After an umbilical connecting Dragon to the International Space Station was established, we did get confirmation of good power flowing from the International Space Station to Dragon. Dragon now relying on station power. We did get confirmation of good data transmission, and of course the teams here on the ground, both here in Houston and in Hawthorne, troubleshooting some of the communication to make sure that is ready to go prior to hatch opening. Pressurization between International Space Station and Dragon brought up to the same pressure, 14.7, the same we would find here on Earth. Leak checks are next to confirm the pressure is stabilized between the two vehicles. You see the hatch just on the other side of Chris Cassidy there. That's the hatch to the pressurized mating adapter. There's two more hatches once you go down that hatchway. One is to the International Docking Adapter, and the other is the hatch of Dragon itself.
Get a real-time bird's eye view of your projects. Create project plans.
Dragon with a couple of questions.
I am here and ready to copy.
Hey, Anna. We show about an hour and 11 minutes since we started drying the suits, just to let you know that. And then the other thing is we can put 4.400 section 2 in work if you think we have some time before we get the hatch open.
Copy. You are go to stop drying your suits and turn off the suit fan at this time. Let me get you word on that waste system flush.
We'll shut the suit fan off then.
And Dragon 36, we are about a half hour prior to hatch open, so you are go to do that waste system flush, and that sounds good to you at this time.
Give it a few minutes. If it's going to be 30 minutes until hatch opening, we may want to use it just one more time. So yeah, we may hold off for another 10 minutes or so. But let us know if anything changes. Otherwise, we'll do it then.
Totally reasonable. Sounds like a good plan. Thanks.
Dragon Houston on Dragon ground. We're still working comm issues. We're going to take down the big group now. We'll maintain you on Dragon ground. We'll tell you when we have hardline back.
Stand by 1 second.
Dragon copy, Houston. Thanks.
Go ahead, Chris. Sorry, I was talking to Dragon.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, I'm just looking ahead at the PAO event, and I know it says video through the node 2 and space to ground 2 up and down. It would only take me about 1 minute to change back over to the encoder to go do comm the normal way that we do PAO events. If that's something that's preferred, it really is super fast, and I can get you that way, and I can take real quick if you need it.
Sure. Copy, Chris. Yeah, copy. Thanks for that. We'll offer it up, and I'll let you know if we want to go that way.
Obviously not urgent or important, just throwing it out there.
Do you make your own handmade goods? Well, so do I. I sell mine online using Shopify. Let me show you how I do it. First, go to shopify.com.
हाय नमस्कार गुड मॉर्निंग फ्रेंड्स, कैसे आप लोग सब बढ़िया हो फ्रेंड्स। आज फुल मोबाइल आपको ये सब ज़्यादा पसंद आए तो शेयर करना, क्योंकि ये क्या फेक है। तो ये इसमें से ही साउंड आता है, जैसे कि अभी कीबोर्ड का साउंड है तो कीबोर्ड का साउंड भी इसमें से है। तो जो साउंड है इसमें से ही आता है। तो आज मैंने कोशिश की है, अगर आपको वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक करना।
Station Houston on 3 for Chris comm config. We just wanted to clarify from your last comment. We show it as being in the standard config, whereby you're going to be coming down over the camcorder HD mic, and we'll be going up over space to ground 2, and that's what we're intending. Did you maybe just? We might have missed your intent in your previous remarks. Is that what you had in mind?
No, I had, like we do all other PAO events, we talk, we hold the handheld microphone that is going through the clip-on mic transmitter to the clip-on through the camera, and then the audio comes down through the encoder. That's how we typically do this PAO events. So I could go back to that config if you need, super fast, or if you want to do it this way where where we're talking on Spacecraft 2, that's fine too. I don't care. Just throwing it out there because it's different than we normally do PAO events. Just to be clear, the configurer now is the Node 2 camera is not connected to the encoder, as they probably know. So all I would do is just plug the cable back into the encoder and switch back over to the nominal Node 2 camcorder.
And Chris, that is clear. The camera needs to be plugged into the encoder. So what you're saying is what we need. We don't know where it got swapped up, but the camera should definitely be plugged into the encoder, and audio is coming down via that encoder.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just use it on the. I guess what I was thinking is going back to one without a battery and not be dependent on the battery, and going back over to the nominal cable, which includes power. I just get a little leery about relying on these batteries.
Copy. We have Photo TV online, so we're talking to them on the phone right now. Stand by one. Station Houston on 3 for Chris. Microphone and the free float camera both connected to the encoder. Does that clear it up?
Okay, copy all. You want the free float camera, and we'll use the handheld microphone through the ATU. Copy all. No problem. I think I'm not communicating. No pun intended. But I think we're in a good config now, and I won't swap over to the nominal Node 2 camera.
He connected a new cable.
Down by Chris. Station Houston 3, Chris. If you're still there, we think we still have it backwards. So I see you look. Yeah, I see in the video now. So we still have PAO on the line. Sorry for the confusion, but I think this much is clear. This morning, we moved cameras, we swapped the cameras that were connected to the encoder. What we want now, we're getting video from the free float camera through the encoder, so that's good. We're seeing it right now. What we need, just relaying here, is your lapel mic. That has to go through that new free float camera, so that your mic connects to the free float camera, and then that audio comes down through the encoder. Does that make sense?
That's the config it's in right now, and that's all perfect. The only benefit, I guess, I didn't initially make it clear, is if I switch back to the normal cable and the normal camera, we're not dependent on a battery power on the camera. I just am worried that throughout this whole event, we're gonna that all of a sudden the battery's gonna go out. I go back to the normal.
SpaceX Dragon on Dragon to ground. Now report complete with 4.012.
Benefit to this free flow camera
Copy
is
complete
I
with
can take
4.012.
and make it all the way into the Dragon, which I don't think we could do with the other cable. So my thought was, after we do all of the ingress stuff and we switch gears to the PAO ceremony when we're standing right in front of the hatch, we could have actual power to the camera. But it's really no big deal. What I'll do is I have got a couple batteries on standby, and I'll just make sure there's a fresh battery right before we start that PAO event.
Okay, Chris, sorry it took so long, but I'm 100% with you, and copy 100% on the battery concern. The word we're getting here is we would like to run it in the config that it's in right now. We copy all on the battery config. Great idea to have a few spares nearby, but we think it's going to last throughout the whole event.
Okay, copy all.
And Station Houston on 3 for Chris. With that out of the way, you have a go when able for your 1615 activity. 1615, that's your go for steps 3 and 4 in 2.102 Crew Dragon ISS arrival.
Okay, 1615 activity in work.
Endeavor, Houston calling on hardline for a voice check. Endeavor, Houston calling via hardline for a voice check.
Loud and clear, how was?
Hey, Endeavor, Houston, we have you loud and clear on hardline. Great news.
Well, congrats. Sounds like we got it at least somewhat sorted out.
Affirmative, concur. We think we might have found it interference between C2V2 and the hardline system, but we're going to keep it here for now and proceed down the timeline.
Never copies.
Houston on 3, hey, can you back me up on the PDT?
Will do, we're checking.
1615 activity in work. 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 1615 activity in work.
Station, Houston on 2. Chris, TPT is good. You're go to continue.
Copy, thank you.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're looking at the inside of the International Space Station. What you were hearing before were just some of the audio and video checks, just making sure that everything's synced up so that we get the best views and the best audio possible for when Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley come through that hatch. We're working towards the hatch opening now. You can see Chris Cassidy down the pressurized mating adapter. That hatch will open up to the international docking adapter. On the other side is the Dragon hatch. Cassidy working through those procedures after pressure equalization was complete. Now expecting around the order of 10 to 15 minutes maybe until we finally get that hatch open. So we'll stand by, keep those views coming from the inside of the International Space Station to welcome Bob and Doug aboard. This is Mission Control Houston. You're looking at the live view of the inside of the International Space Station Flight Control Room. The team here, Orbit 2 team, led by Flight Director Scoville, is working through the intricate process of making sure everything is ready to open the hatch and welcome Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley aboard the International Space Station. It's been a journey so far to get to this point. More than 2 hours ago, made contact and capture with the International Space Station was the Dragon vehicle, the Crew Dragon vehicle, with Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley aboard, 9:16 a.m. Central, 10:16 a.m. Eastern.
Dragon FM voice check. How do you read me? Counting. 1, 2, 1,
30-minute
1,
timer that
2,
you gave
2,
us a little
1,
bit
2,
earlier.
3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5.
Here, and then give you go to come back on board.
In Dragon SpaceX, you were pretty broken in that previous call.
Houston stations with the ground 2. I don't hear Dragon.
I think you're being summoned by the Russian crew. In Dragon SpaceX, I was told to proceed with you. Can you please repeat your last?
Yeah, Anna, just wanted to double check with you to make sure you had copied our last and that we were still good on that estimated timer that you gave us for 30 minutes. It looks like we've got about 10 minutes left. So we'd like to pick up in section 2 of 4.400.
Checking.
This is Mission Control Houston. Chris Cassidy opens the hatch to the International Docking Adapter, 11:37 a.m. Central Time. Station and Dragon flying together, 267 statute miles over the South Pacific. This is a view from the camera at the forward end of Dragon.
20 minutes until Dragon hatch open, and the APAS hatch was just opened.
Again, 11:37 a.m. Central. The hatch to the International Docking Adapter was open. You see Chris Cassidy there poking his head in. That's the camera at the forward end of the Dragon. Now only one hatch separating Bob Behnken, Doug Hurley from Chris Cassidy, who you're seeing here from those Dragon views. Expected time to open that hatch is about 20 minutes from now. We'll report that time to you and expect to do a welcome ceremony at 12:15 a.m. Central Time, 1:15 p.m. Eastern. That'll welcome Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley aboard the International Space Station as part of the Expedition 63 crew. We'll get to hear some words from them and have some VIPs here in Mission Control Houston to provide words to the teams that oversaw the entire mission and the crew aboard the International Space Station.
Station Houston, we copy the hatch open, no condensation, thanks.
Dragon SpaceX on Dragon to ground, comm check.
Dragon to ground, how us?
A little choppy, how me?
You are loud and clear. We'll put section 2 of 4.400 in work.
We copy all. Thank you. And please give Anatoly a call.
We'll put
on
section 2 of 4.400 in work.
We copy all. Thank you. And please give Anatoly a call.
And I'd also like to report 2 bottles of water consumed from location 9.
We copy all. Thank you. And please give Anatoly a call.
And I'd also like to report 2
bottles of water consumed from location 9. We copy all. Thank you. And please give Anatoly a call.
And I'd also like to report 2 bottles of water for the waste system location 9.
We copy all. Thank you. And please give Anatoly a call.
And I'd also like to report 2 bottles of water for the waste system location 9.
Chris Cassidy for moving that
Please give Anatoly a call.
removing that target from the APAS hatch docking interface. Chris Cassidy for moving that
on the big loop for Anatoly from Endeavour.
Removing that target from the APAS hatch docking interface. Chris Cassidy for moving that
on the big loop for Anatoly from Endeavour.
Removing that target from the APAS hatch docking interface. Chris Cassidy for moving that
on the big loop for Anatoly from Endeavour.
Removing that target from the APAS hatch docking interface. Chris Cassidy for moving that
voice check. How do we play? Counting 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5. Voice check. How do we play?
Endeavour has you loud and clear. How copy?
Copy system. They have all the clear. Voice check. How do we play?
Endeavour has you loud and clear. How copy?
Copy system. They have all the clear. Voice check. How do we play?
Endeavour has you loud and clear.
How do we play? Copy system. They have all the clear.
Loud and clear.
Okay. Total. Don't know the quick. How do we play?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Total. Don't know the quick.
And all players from Houston, that completes the comm checks. Thank you.
Loud and clear.
And all players from Houston, that completes the comm checks. Thank you.
Loud and clear.
This is Mission Control Houston. Those comm checks within the International Space Station between the Dragon crew, Chris Cassidy, and on the other side of the International Space Station, the Russian segment, Russian cosmonaut Anatoly Ivanishin, completing those voice checks between the Dragon crew, Chris Cassidy, and on the other side of the... You can see Cassidy continuing to outfit the hatch, just clearing the space and providing some padding and removing that docking target from the APAS hatch. You can see Cassidy continuing to outfit the hatch, just clearing the space and
Dragon to ground.
providing some padding and removing that docking target from the APAS hatch.
And 2 more bags were consumed from location 9, bag 204, and that includes seawater used for the waste system flush. Is that all correct? The waste system flush is in work, and 2 more bags were consumed from location 9, bag 204, and that includes seawater used
from bag 204, one of which Bob is in the process of consuming, and the other will be for the waste flush. That is correct.
Perfect. Thanks for clarifying. And secondly, do we have your permission to come back on board with video?
Bob is in the process of consuming, and the other will be for the waste flush. Negative. We're going to need about 2 minutes. We're just wrapping up ops here right now.
Do we have your permission to come back on board? Copy. 2 more minutes. We will await your confirmation.
And the other will be for the waste flush. Negative. We're going to need about 2 minutes. We're just wrapping up ops here right now.
Thank you. Copy. 2 more minutes. We will await your confirmation.
Still getting views from the infrared camera that's located right at the center of the Dragon hatch, looking at Chris Cassidy, International Space Station Commander, outfitting that hatch, getting ready for Bob and Doug to arrive. And we're hearing communications over Dragon to ground. That was Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley on the other side of that hatch, inside the crew Dragon vehicle, finishing up their operations on the inside for that hatch opening, expected in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Business insurance today is like...
Again, it's been a process to get to this point. Just about 2.5 hours ago, Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley to the International Space Station. was Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley vehicle aboard the first commercial American vehicle to dock to the International Space Station with crew aboard in about 10 to 15 minutes. Again, we're expecting about 10 to 15 minutes to open up that hatch. One more hatch separating Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley from the inside of the International Space Station. Still looking at Cassidy doing some of the prep work for that hatch. We'll get some great views that Cassidy set up over the past few hours to capture this historic moment to the International Space Station with crew aboard. Be sure to stay tuned in at 12:15 p.m. Central Time, 1:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll start a welcome ceremony, officially welcoming Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley aboard the International Space Station to join the Expedition 63 crew. Hurley aboard the International Space Station to join the Expedition 63 crew.
SpaceX Dragon on Dragon to ground.
Go ahead.
SpaceX Dragon on Dragon to ground.
Go ahead.
Anna, you're clear to come on board.
Copy. Clear to come on board, and thanks for your patience with the comm. We are in an orientation that's creating some blockage to receive your comm on Dragon to ground. With the comm, we are in an orientation that's creating some blockage to receive your comm on Dragon to ground.
Yeah, we figured that was it. No problem. That's part of the deal. Yeah, we figured that was it.
Chris Cassidy giving a wave, eagerly awaiting Bob and Doug to come aboard. Just behind him, you see Anatoly Ivanishyn and Ivan Wagner, wave, Russian cosmonauts of Expedition 63 standing by. You see Anatoly Ivanishyn, and we'll be able to come aboard Dragon here in a sec, get some views from the crew Dragon. We'll be able to come on a short handover of those communications from the International Space Station. Video and audio should be regaining them momentarily. Physically separating from the International Space Station, 1:32 a.m. Central Time. The International Space Station, 253 statute miles over Sedan.
The station is supposed to be on ISS thrusters enabled.
Copy.
So there you can see on your screen visual confirmation. What a gorgeous shot. Dragon has...
Anatoly Ivanishyn in the foreground there. Chris Cassidy continuing the prep work for opening up the hatch there. Again, the pressurized mating adapter hatch you see there in the foreground is open. The APAS hatch to the International Docking Adapter is open. Just one more, and that's the hatch of Dragon, the Crew Dragon vehicle.
Houston Station, space to ground 2. Station is ready for Dragon hatch equalization.
Station Houston copies. Dragon call ready when you're able.
Houston Dragon, go ahead.
And Dragon Houston, just looking to confirm that you're ready for hatch equalization.
We are ready as long as SpaceX is ready.
Okay, Station and Endeavour, stand by for equalization. We're putting it in work. Expected equalization time 4 minutes.
Station copies.
Endeavour copies.